guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to know how to start from something like this and end up something like that. These are the exact techniques that I use, these 5 helpful tips that I use to help transform my art really quickly, really fast. In other words, how to get good at art fast. So without further ado, let's begin. Tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to actually get a sketchbook. Why get a sketchbook? You know, I'd have a bunch of papers and stuff like that. Well, one thing for sure is when you have a bunch of sketchbooks, or you actually finish your sketchbook or something, when you actually get yourself a sketchbook, you actually get to see your progress from the beginning to the end. If, like, let's say, you have to draw a really nice ball for, like, I don't know, a couple of times, you can actually see that, oh, this ball looks better than this ball at this period of time. It's basically like a journal, but an art journal. But that's tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 is actually quite an unfamiliar tip that most people doesn't really say, and that is actually to watch Speedpaints. Now, personally, I like to watch Speedpaints because I get to see the transformation from something, a scrap, just paper, just blankness, all the way to this beautiful masterpiece. And that is why I personally like to watch Speedpaints, because it's basically like a tutorial, but it's just jam-packed really quickly. You don't need to watch a digital art Speedpaint exactly. You can actually watch a traditional art Speedpaint. It works equally as well. The next tip to do is to actually draw every day. Now, this is a really common one. Draw every day. Like when I say tip number 1, you can draw every day on your sketchbook. And that is basically like if you draw a ball every day, you'll know that your ball will slightly have more detail from the day before. Now, you must also keep this in mind that you actually want to have like a desire to do this, and you actually put in the effort to do this. Because if you're just gonna be lazy and like just simply do a ball, you don't expect that your ball will transform over a period of time. So you actually need to put in some effort. Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is actually to do fan art. Now, maybe you're wondering why do fan art and stuff like that. Well, you should do fan art for like DIY and stuff like that. You can find a lot of these stuff on Instagram, YouTube, or any other social media platform. Maybe there's Facebook too. But basically, when you follow a favorite artist that you like on any of these social media platforms, you're kind of grabbing inspiration from them. Not copying them completely, but grabbing inspiration from them. And by doing a DIY, which is do it in your style, by doing that, you're basically incorporating their elements but in your style. And at the end of the day, after you finish drawing them, you can actually compare them side by side, and then you actually can improve, like, oh, this person did it this way and that way. And the cool thing is, many people do those DIY, so you can kind of browse through different people's styles and different people's way of how they approach it, and basically incorporate those ideas in yours too, which is a way of self-improvement, which I personally like to do that sometimes. Tip number 5. Okay, I know these tips are quite very uncommon. Tip number 5 is actually to do a comic. Now, I know not many people are psyched about the idea of doing a comic first, but some people just doesn't have the motivation to finish the comic, and I totally understand that. I've abandoned the comic. But doing a comic actually teaches you a lot of things if you don't know. You don't exactly need to start making your comic awesome at the beginning. Now, and like going all the way to the end, just putting a bunch of detail and stuff like that. Now, the thing why I say do a comic is because when you decide a comic, you need to create a character, and you need to pick a style for your comic. So you need a style which is not too simple and not too difficult, which is basically like by doing a comic, you're actually finding your style without you knowing. So you're finding a nice simple style that you use for your comic and several panels after that. You don't need to do like a crazy long comic book. You can basically make a short strip, maybe about 8 to 10 panels long. Who knows? And by doing that, you're actually drawing the same character a bunch of times. And basically, what you notice, what you will be noticing is you are basically fixing this character from that character. Sometimes if you're doing like an action-packed type of strip, you're actually doing dynamic poses without you actually know. So you're actually practicing to do dynamic poses, and it's basically doing it for fun, and so that you're actually not really knowing. And not only that, is by doing a bunch of these comics, like by doing this one character and just like drawing this one character in different styles, you're basically practicing more proportionate characters without you even knowing. And then you're basically like drawing and have different angles of a character without you even knowing. That is why I say that by doing a comic actually helps you improve your art style and actually help you get good at art fast. So these are the 5 tips that I use to get good at art fast. Hopefully you enjoy this video as much as I do, and leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.